you want to take yours off, please do. Hello, Jerry. Hello, everyone. Really nice to see you. Hello. Hi, Jet. Hello, Queerly Quiet. Really nice to see you. Hello, hello. Welcome. We'll just see how many people are coming in. Got a few more coming in at the moment. Evening, Al. Hello, Kinky Smiley Kitty. Nice to see you all. Hello, Donkey Rage. Everyone's saying hello. It's all really nice. Okay, so welcome, everyone. Is it Serena or Serena? Serena Lucina or Lucine or Lucine? I want to get that pronunciation right. Hello, and Cinders and Nacho Albelda. Hello. Everyone's coming in. Welcome, welcome. We've got some really interesting topics today. So just as people are still coming in, can I just remind everyone of the rules? And that is, please, if you've got something to say, type it down the side. If I will read it out. I think I get most people most of the time. I don't always, because I can be a twat and not see, especially without my glasses on, you know. Is that Sachin Oberwa or Sakin? I need to get that right. Memoria, hello. I'm really good this week. I've got a slight cough left. Sorry about that. And I'm really excited. I won't be here next week because I'm getting a puppy. So I'm very happy about that. I know. I should rescue a dog. I know. And I really want this breed. I've wanted this breed forever. And I've been searching for a rescue for the last year and there hasn't been one. It's called a Coton du Tuileries. That's what they're called. They are a little ball of fluff, really. They're quite young looking. They're quite
young.
Sorry, say that again, Gerald?
Puppies often are young.
Yeah, but young looking, I meant. You know, it just looks little, but it looks really old as well. It looks like an old man, really. I think they do, that breed of dog. But they're cotton. They're called Coton because they feel like cotton. I put a picture of that life actually as well. So ageist. I'm a fucking fat old woman. I don't think I'm ageist. I don't think I'm ageist at all. I think I'm many things and I get things wrong, Jesus. But I did put a picture on, very sweet. And everyone said, what about the other dog? So yeah, very sweet. Thank you, Dom. Thank you, Karis. Yeah, it's very, very sweet. Okay, so we've got 3 subjects today. I'm looking forward to the live video of her. I got a video earlier of her waddling around and she really does waddle. It's quite funny. I used to breed and show bichons. They're similar, aren't they? They're a bit bigger though, aren't they? I think these ones. And Zoom user says, no way, I've wanted one of those for years, never found one. They're around. Exactly my point. Coton du Tuileries are really difficult to find. And this is a very, very white one with a slight amount of pale honey on her ears. She's really cute. She's going to be beautiful.
She's melting there.
It's so lovely. It's lovely, isn't it, though? We love her. Well, we are actually biologically geared up to like and want those sorts of things. So, but I've got a small picture of her on FetLife because that's what FetLife is for. It's my social life. Fucking hell. I think I use it like Facebook. I'm sure that's wrong, but who cares? Okay. She is sweet, isn't she? I really like her. Let's not do a baby voice. I'm an absolute adult. That's ridiculous. Okay, so we are talking about 3 things today. We are going to talk about humiliation and we're going to talk about ghosting. I'm not sure what order, but we'll definitely start with humiliation. I always forget. And we're talking about incels because somebody's asked that. And then not next week because I'm not here because I'm a puppy. But the week after, I've already been asked to talk about 2 subjects. So we're already starting about like borderline stalking. What do you do if somebody starts to hassle you and starts to annoy you and is a little bit too much? So we'll talk about that, what the options are. And I've also been asked to talk about all things scat. What's the danger? Because someone knows someone who says, I really want to do this, and they want to be able to educate them and maybe warn them about some of the risks, blah, blah, blah. So we'll see. Most people, Memoria says, seem to use Fet as Facebook other than the stalkers. I don't know, I've been stalkers. And Tom says, I post pictures of my ESA on Fet. It is my life, really. That's what I do. I use Facebook a little bit, but not really. And my personal profile is definitely for personal friends as well. Okay. All right, Jerry. Enough noise there. Okay. It's all right, I'm kidding. Right, so let's start. STI, STD stigma might be a good topic at some point. I can do that. I can add that to the that one as well. So we can talk about STIs and STDs. We can talk about how to look at them, what to do, what solutions there are, what types there are, how you catch them, how you avoid them. I am a qualified psychosexual psychotherapist, so that's something I know quite a lot about. So yes, we could do that easily. So I can easily add that, but let me get out my book and write it, because we all know me. If I don't, it won't happen. So STI or D, take your pick. Who knows? It always changes all right. Have you got topics for December yet? No, that's not funny. It's only 2 weeks' time. And stigma. I once had a client, I bet I'll talk about this in a couple of weeks. I once had a client who came to see me, and quite a few weeks in, she turned around and said to me that she has herpes, which most people do. However, most people don't have simplex 2, they have simplex 1. However, she had simplex 2. And she was this beautiful 18-year-old, voluptuous, very sexy looking sexual human being. And she was so angry that she'd been given herpes by someone that she was sleeping around with as many people as she could to make sure she gave herpes to as many people as she could. And, you know, I said, I won't work with you under those circumstances. You are causing harm to others and this, that, and the other. And I even ended up phoning, you know, the local police, not 999 or anything. And they went, don't know what you want us to do about it. She's actively assaulting other people. It is classed as something really serious, but we'll talk about that. And with the dealing with the ex thing, can you talk about how to deal with false rumours and that kind of thing? Pencil. It's not necessarily exes, it's just stalkers, but yes, I'll do that, and false rumours. Okay, so let's talk about humiliation. It's probably one of my personal favourite things. It's something I'm massively into. I've run a lot of workshops on humiliation, and I have a writing on humiliation, which is what this will be based on as well. So Lamori will put it up in a second, I'm sure, but this is basically what we're basing it on. But if you've got any questions that are different to what the writing says, we can discuss that as well, because this, you know, this particular writing takes 11, 12 minutes to read anyway, and this is what's in my head and what I know. So you could have a look at the writing, it'll be roughly the same. This is something I love. I love to be, hello little bush baby, nice to see you. I love to be humiliated. It's one of my favourite things. It's interesting that there are differences between humiliation and degradation and different things, and objectification. However, something might be humiliating, but it might also be degrading, and something degrading might be humiliating. Objectification might be humiliating and or might be degrading. So it's all an interesting mix together, really, in many ways. So let's talk about this. It's really important to understand that humiliation is a fucking hard limit for some people. This is edge play. I think people see it as nothing. Come on, you fucking skank. Come on, you fat bitch. Come on, you skinny, worthless, small pricked, whatever. You know, these are horrendous words that we use, and some of this can get into our psyche. If somebody has a very insecure situation or don't feel okay about themselves, please, please be careful about what you say to people and how you say it, because we all go from that old adage of sticks and stones may break my bones, but words, yeah, no. Have you ever seen anyone bullied? You know, it's not always physical. Have you seen people emotionally abused? Have you seen that they've changed the law to do, you know, for domestic violence, and that's now become everything that's said, as well as financial and other different forms of control? So please be really careful about how you say it and what you say. For me, I'm a bring it on, fucking destroy me. I love it. Tom Beckett says certain humiliation can be a hard limit. Other humiliation can be incredibly fun. And for some reason, Jim says, can't copy that link. If not, I'll try and post one in a bit, or I'll add to the writing so everyone knows where it is if anyone wants to see it. So let's look at it. When you have a look at humiliation, what it really means as far as words are concerned, it means to take somebody from here and put them further down, to reduce, to take down, to lower somebody so they're less than you are in a way, or to try and make someone become embarrassed or ashamed. So you're taking them around a little bit. So let's have a look at some of the differences about what we mean by words, because can click on it, can't copy and paste it. I think the chat has to be saved, able to copy and paste something. I'll set it up for you in a minute, I promise. Although we've never had that problem before, actually. So we'll see. So let's have a look at a little bit of a history of humiliation. Let's have a look about some of the physiology and how it works and what it means. There is a difference between guilt, shame, humiliation, degradation, objectification. There are quite big differences in those. However, the emotions that they're built on are almost identical. They're very, very, very similar. So for our shame and guilt, that's an intra-personal system. That's the stuff we go through in and with ourselves. So the difference with that is in embarrassment and humiliation are interpersonal. So we feel shame and guilt from the inside out when someone does something. However, embarrassment and humiliation are from the outside in as an emotional response system. So there is a slight difference in those. So interpersonal, others, external, as I said, it's the internal versus the external. So I think in that writing, I shared a story. So things can really make us feel ashamed about things as adults. Maybe we're caught doing something. Maybe we're caught masturbating and we're ashamed. We know we are shamed for it by somebody else. Therefore, we feel ashamed. And shame is that thing of being inherently flawed, of not being okay. It's pretty fundamental shame. And people can get very, very involved in a downward shame spiral. So shame can be very damaging for people. I would not humiliate anybody who has a lot of shame. I think that's a very dangerous place to go. I think you've got to be very, very careful. And if people give you a history of trauma or shame and you think, oh, I want to bring humiliation in, I honestly would think about that because that's quite serious. So when we make, I think what I said was that if you imagine the earth, the crust and the core as two separate things of the earth as such, if you imagine that they're different slightly, we can make light of embarrassment and different things. Fucking hell, okay, that's all right, or whatever. But if it becomes too painful, too intense and too much, and it goes into our core, it's really starting to change who we are as fundamental human beings. And a lot of people don't share this stuff, don't talk about it. We don't share our shameful stories. We make light of something that was slightly embarrassing. We have a joke about something that, fucking hell, Jesus, I did this once, or crap, that happened once. So we feel very differently about that. So sometimes when we feel slightly embarrassed, we might recover from that. It might happen. However, if we are constantly humiliated or our very sense of self is called into some kind of question or impacted in any way, shape or form, we will start to wonder, who the fuck am I? Where do I fit in the world? And how do I do this? And that's why humiliation shouldn't be played with. Humiliation has been around for years. It's been a way of abasing ourselves, of asking for forgiveness sometimes. It's been ritualistic in its own way. It's all about controlling people as well. If you humiliate people, if you take a story like The Emperor's New Clothes, what the tailor said in the story was, only very clever people can see this cloth. And of course, all the emperor's advisors said, oh, we can see the cloth and we're very clever. So when the emperor couldn't see anything, he thought, fuck, no, I'm not going to make a dick of myself, am I? I can see, oh yes, it's a wonderful cloth. Please do make me a suit. And it took a child to say, but the emperor isn't wearing any clothes. That childhood fable and story, because the child could see through it because of the pompousness of human beings. But it would be awful to have to admit maybe that you weren't clever. And if you think about that whole, the English social system is based on it. If you look at boarding school, and you can actually say the Nazis copied boarding school principles to actually start setting up the camps. That's what they did, Auschwitz and everything. If you look at the basis, they were based on old-fashioned English boarding schools. And there's a systemic system of humiliation, punishment, and bullying in boarding schools to keep people in their place, to keep people at their levels, to say this is where you belong and this is where you can't come out of. So it's been used for a long time. If you go back and look at really old punishments and different things that people used to have, so we've got things like boarding school. So there would be flushing someone's head down the toilet, making people to do something else. I wonder, does humiliation require a third party to witness the degradation? It can do. It can certainly make it deeper and worse, because then we've got that added thing of the person is looking, and therefore I feel even worse for it. Mr. P, don't worry about being late. We are talking about humiliation. So We've even used public displays of humiliation to keep people in their place. And people join in. Even look at things now, you know, look at all the COVID stuff, look at all the abortion stuff in Texas, look at all the different ways that we're trying to say, well, you're not okay because you did this. You shouldn't be such a fucking whore and open your legs. And therefore you wouldn't need an abortion. And you should know you're pregnant at 6 weeks because hell, don't you keep an eye on it? Don't think you understand how periods work, mate. And then you've got people fighting that. There was something I loved the other day. I think my politics are about to become very obvious. They lean more to the left. When someone, you know, turned around and said, when Biden said, hey, listen, all the federal workers need to be jabbed, vaccinated, they were like, my body, my choice. I think Texas missed that bit when it came to women. I think that's quite, you know, I think you're missing the point there. Just because it's interesting, isn't it? However, we use embarrassment, humiliation, especially around women who sleep with other people, and we get names like slut, whore, all of those things. We try and use humiliation to keep people in their place and shaming, and we have a go at somebody to say, this is where you belong. We have done extreme things in society, from tarring and feathering people to try and get that off, from burning witches alive. We have had public rapes. We have had public sexual assaults. It wasn't till the last fucking century that a laird in Scotland couldn't take the bride on her wedding night and fuck her because he had a right to her virginity before the husband did. And sadly, Saraswati, you're very right, it is often women. I would also argue it is men too, when we start to look at stocks and degradation and different things too. But when it comes to the sexual stuff, there is something about the public aspect of it that makes a real difference. I think as well, we go very far with degradation and humiliation when we start, the droit du seigneur, the right of the master, the laird, when you look at it, the right of the Lord. And that's, you know, that was quite, quite, and really quite, that's why I'm saying it. That's why I was saying gently that for me, it is people. It's not just women. However, you know, I'm saying that kindly as well. It is massively used when in religion, you know, the whole thing of self-flagellation, of people on their knees asking for forgiveness from God or whoever you see as your greater being or power. And religious people have always used it in quite extreme ways as well. And, you know, even if you buy a nice car and you look down on their car because it's not as nice as your car, you know, we're trying to belittle and keep people in their place. So it's always been a political structure as well. It's made a real difference. I'm a massive Hamilton fan. I've seen it 5 times live. I've already booked my 6th for very, very soon. And there's a point where Hamilton thinks he's going to make things right. Alexander Hamilton, as in, you know, many, many years ago for the revolution in America, he thinks he's going to make things right because he always wrote his way out of trouble. And one of the bits in Hamilton talks about the Reynolds pamphlet. And in the Reynolds pamphlet, he talks about how he bedded this woman, how she came to their house and whatever. And not once did he really think about the consequence for his wife, who was publicly humiliated, and it made a real difference. So it can be really subtle. When we are ignored, that can be humiliating. If somebody doesn't answer questions, that can be humiliating. It doesn't feel very nice. When you look at the impact of subtle humiliation, it's tiny until it builds. And when it builds, and you see it in things like the Stanford experiment, when people took on the role of prisoners and prison masters and prison guards, you know, the violence escalated and increased very, very quickly. No, you can't go to the toilet. You can fucking piss wherever you are. I'm going to kick you. No, I don't give a shit. No, you can't have food. All about making sure. So humiliation is often about that power struggle. Hamilton, that is quite a recommendation. I fucking love it. It's one of my favourites. And Kinky Dick says, and of course the names, women who shag around have harsh words like slut or slag. Yeah, a guy is a bit of a lad or a legend. Yeah, he's a Lothario or, you know, well done. Good on you, mate. And that still is, it still exists today, unfortunately. And that's, I feel no shame about my sexual history and past. And believe me, I'm closer to 1,000 than I'm 100 by far. And I have no shame about that whatsoever. And if someone tries to humiliate me over that, this is the other thing that's really important. It has to be something that humiliates you. If someone turned and said to me, said, you fucking slag, Deb, how many people have you slept with? Well, I'm sorry, didn't I make that number clear enough? It's closer to 1,000 than it is 100. Now, some of you might be going, Jesus Christ, she's a bit of a horse. She opens her legs for anybody. Fucking hell, what's she doing? It would mean nothing to me, whoosh, over my head, because it doesn't humiliate me, because I'm not feeling the shame or the degradation associated with it that maybe you would, because that's why you have that sort of attitude. So people can only humiliate you if you allow them. Isn't that shocking? Or if it's something that gets to you and churns you up. If it's something that doesn't get to you, then it won't humiliate you. So that's the other thing to think about as well. So much as we've used it in the past where we say, you're this, you're that, it only works if the person agrees with the you're this, you're that. So it has to be in our heads. And the problem is we can adapt humiliation very quickly to anger, to rage, and to self-defense. So again, if you're going to use it in BDSM, make sure it's okay with the other person, or expect a fucking punch or a kick or something sometimes. You know, as a response, please negotiate this shit up front really carefully, really properly, because it's not good. I think when I think of something, I think of like something that's humiliating. You have to be aware of it. So I don't know if you saw the new Star is Born. A Star is Born, and there's a point where he gets on stage. She's accepting an award, and he gets on stage and he just pisses himself publicly in front of everyone. And is he humiliated? He's like, I don't give a shit, because he's utterly pissed. But she is humiliated. She is ashamed because she is the partner of him. So different things impact us in different ways. So we have to be really, really careful about what humiliates us and what it does. A lot of people, when they are taunting or attacking or doing something awful, will use humiliation, will use degradation as well. Be careful what you think is humiliation and degradation for different people. Of stuff you can look up about the differences if you want to have a look and see, but I would also, what does it mean to you? Not what it means to somebody else, not what it means somewhere else. So for example, I might find it quite a turn on to be used as a human toilet. Someone pisses in my mouth, pisses in my cunt, pisses in my arse. I'm so eloquent, aren't I? How politely put. So if someone just pisses inside me or whatever, or on me, I don't find that humiliating. So like the guy I'm talking to asked me to talk in third person to him the other day. And lots of people do that very generically. And I said, for today or forever? And he said, just for today, just as a task. I went, okay, yeah, okay. And did it. And he said, how did that make you feel? I went, same. Just that it doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't have an impact on me. So again, check what has an impact if you want to humiliate somebody, because you can think you're doing a great job because it would humiliate you, but your classification of humiliation is really different to mine, maybe. Do people know what humiliates them? Is that something they think about ever? Is anyone here into humiliation at all, or like doing it, or like receiving it, or are you a giver or a taker, a bit of both? So people are saying yes and no in different ways. Taker. So AJW taker, clearly quite hard limit for me. Yep, exactly. And this is why this stuff needs talking about. And actually, often what you find, Karis, it depends on the person's situation. I think it very much depends on the trust. I have a deal when it comes to humiliation. Kinky Dick says a giver, receiving, hell no. Cinder says hard limit for me too. Donkey Ray says not verbal humiliation anyway. Regina says giver. Little Bush Baby says new to me and in my dynamic. And Goddess Peach says giver. Little Bush Baby says take. Tom Beckett says I like giving and taking certain humiliation. Again, so it's all about the classification, isn't it? About what works, about what doesn't. This is all about conversations. So what happens to you physiologically in your body and maybe in your brain when you feel humiliated? There was a piece of research by Otten and Jones, and they measured the brain responses with a scan, fMRI scan, because it always are, to see what intensity the person felt. And it's interesting because what their piece of research found was that humiliation was more negative than anger, and then to anger, and more intense than to happiness. So it was quite a big impact, and it was quite an interesting cocktail. Jerry says, I'm finding it harder to be humiliated over recent years because I've become very happy with who I am. And that I would really agree with that. Like if someone calls me a fat old whore, I go, yeah, I am. It's not humiliating. It doesn't get to me because actually it's a fact. I am overweight. And whore, that's interesting. I've definitely been paid for sex. And I've had a lot of sex, and I've had more dicks than most people have had hot dinners and cunts and boobs and all sorts of bits and pieces from everywhere. So it's not humiliating. It doesn't mean anything to me. I'm okay with all of that. So Key says, I have a problem with giving humiliation, just my choice. I feel uncomfortable with it. Yes, people feel a lot of guilt and a lot of, I can't say this out loud. I wonder how much not doing it will affect my partner. They have asked about it, but not pushed for it. I think as well, we have to be okay as a submissive or somebody who wants something. We say, no, but I like it, so you can do it. No, it has an impact on you as well. Consent goes 4 ways, not just 2. I like it, so you can is a 2-way consent model. Actually, we need a 4-way consent model. I like it, please do it, so you can do it, but I don't want to do it because I don't like it, therefore I won't. Is absolutely okay. It's a 4-way thing. It's not just a 2-way. It makes a difference. And Ayrshire Adonis says, I like being humiliated. Unfortunately or not, it can be all too easily done. And I think as well, it so much depends on our okayness as ourselves and how we are with ourselves. Al says, I didn't think so, but I once had a little scene where I was watched pissing in the shower, called dirty, flogged, and left to clean it up. I'm surprised at how much I enjoyed it. Yeah, I've just read a really interesting piece of research, actually, that is about why disgust turns to pleasure. And, you know, I might bring that up if I get a minute at the end as well. So, and that's quite interesting as well. So why do we twist things in our brains sometimes? Some says take it, but I can't really tell people. I don't know what that means, Sub. Is that something you don't really want? Is it because you don't want to admit to that, or you feel quite bad about that? Trust. Okay. Listen, I think trust is fundamental to this. I don't think this is something you start with. I think it's really important that you build up to this and you see what people do in different ways at different times. I also think it's really important to have the build up afterwards. And on my personal profile, I've got this thing where it says slapping my face is as important as stroking it. Calling me a fucking whatever is just as, you know, it's just as important as saying to me how much you love me and how beautiful I am. There has to be a balance. I can't just believe I'm a piece of shit. If that's all you tell me all the time, then after a while, that shit will start to get into my brain. And I'm like, do you like me? Am I just an object here? Am I just a slave? So for me, as much as I love it, I like the counterbalance. I'm the seesaw when it comes to humiliation. You've got to build up the other side as well and tell me how beautiful I am and how wonderful I am and how great I am and sweet, gentle, whatever those things are, how smart, funny, whatever. So that's important too. And if I don't get that, my humiliation will start to be nah, fuck off, I've had enough now. Like, it's really boring. I'm not getting anything from you, because my submission is quite responsive rather than I just give all the time. If I give, I'll keep giving. But then if you stop giving and you just start taking, after all, I'm just going to go, no, sorry, not working for me. And it's the same for me with humiliation. AJW says, I find this, things I may think are gross or taboo could become a kink. And that's all about turning degradation into okayness. There's quite a lot of research on that, as I said. Chloe says, I find it very interesting when someone asks, are you into humiliation? For me, it's an aspect that requires the most conversation and understanding of what is or is not considered humiliation on both sides. I would agree. So I always ask for examples what so-called act of humiliation they're into, as for me, it might not be. Thank you for this conversation, because it's helped to understand my own lines on this and realise my hard list is where I felt shame, and which I sense but would not have articulated that way. I'm so glad, Chloe, that you've understood that then for yourself. How wonderful is that? That's the point of these things. I remember I'm a cut queen and I like to be humiliated over body comparisons, bigger, smaller, different. It doesn't matter what, simply different. And this guy said, look, I'm going to fuck her soon. Look how sexy she is. And he made me watch a picture of her while he was fucking me, and he said, actually, in order to come, give me the phone, I need it on your back because your cunt just isn't worth it. Well, that is good humiliation for me. That really works. But then I need to be told that I'm okay afterwards. And a lot of people would say, fuck, what are you doing, Deb? That's horrendous. Or someone's watching porn on my back or something. No, I like that. Something to wank into, something to use. So there's slight objectification in there, but it's got to be okay. And it is. And the problem is, I think, as Jerry said, what's so important is the more and more and more you feel less shame, the harder and harder and harder it is to find things that really humiliate and have a go. That's where I like comparisons. That's where it works for me in a slightly different way. So on this particular study where they looked at humiliation, they did the way they did it was that the participants listened to a short story about different emotions and different situations, and they had to imagine how they felt as a response to it in their own way. And AJW says how to find the next thing when something doesn't humiliate you anymore. Oh, I'm going to come back to that one in a minute, I tell you. So it's quite difficult as to how you do that and how that works. It's complex. And in the first one, I think they did anger and humiliation and I can't remember the third emotion. It doesn't matter, but that's what they did. And then they put shame as well in there in a cocktail, and they use an ECG to be able to measure it. And it was that humiliation is very intensely and internally felt. It's really demanding. It demands our cognition. It demands our emotions. It demands a lot of stuff. So it is quite deep, which means it has bigger consequences. And that's the interesting thing. You see, the more you get used to it, which is quite interesting, the more it's like exposure therapy. The more okay we become with a lot of this. Yeah, so what? And then how deep do you go? Because you can get into some really deep stuff here that could really hurt people. So you've got to be very careful. And it's your oh God, I can't remember. It's something to do with your anterior cortex, cingulate cortex. That determines how much of a response that you will have in the brain. It says this is how it's going to be. So I think I use this as an example actually in the writing. My daughter sent an email once to everybody at work and all of their clients instead of the one person she meant to send it to. So it went to like a couple of thousand people. And she was like, oh my God, fuck, shit, piss, bollocks. And she was so scared and worried about what was going to happen. And she felt like a twat. She was quite new. She was quite young or whatever. She's going to be made a director in December. It didn't have any impact at all. But we can't not worry about those things either. We can't be blasé. So we have to find that balance between those two things. So it makes a difference. However, that part of the cingulate cortex also helps people who are neurotypical or non-neurotypical. And it's all about, there was also a piece of really interesting research where people were made to sing karaoke and listen to themselves back again. And that really triggered some of that. Gershon Kaufman is a good author to read up when it comes to shame. Yeah, I've got a writing on shame as well, which I think it's not my writing. I share that it's not my writing, but for me, it's one of the best pieces of writing on shame I've ever come across. It makes a difference. I think as well, I shared before that if you go onto the internet and you can have a look, the PNAS.org do a lovely piece of research about where we feel things in the body and where we feel shame and where we feel guilt. So from that person who sent me a direct message, is it okay if I read that out and I read it out privately, or is it okay if I don't read it out? Could you let me know? Because I always would want people's consent as to whether that's okay or not. So, you know, it's also the perception of what we feel about what other people think. So if we listen back to something we said or did, I would never listen to any of these workshops again that I've done. I don't like the sound of my voice. That is a very normal thing. There are TED Talks on that. And there are all sorts of things that happen. Thank you to the person who's just written. So, you know, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I don't want to listen. I've done professional singing, for fuck's sake. And if someone puts it on, I go, oh, turn it off. I don't like it. I know people pay me to do it. I don't like it for whatever reason. So it's quite interesting. So when we put ourselves in the position of someone else perceiving how it is for us, that changes as well. So somebody just wrote a direct message that says, my mum would be horrified by the married man I'm seeing. She cares so much what others think. I've realised that once she's passed, that the only person left to feel shame will be me. And it's not a strong emotion in me at all. And I hope it isn't a strong emotion in you. I think it's an okay emotion to have at times as a response, as long as you know how to calm, self-soothe and sort it out. That's what matters to me. Also, what's interesting about humiliation is that it stimulates the part of the brain that feels physical pain, as do most emotions, actually. But with humiliation, it's even more important. We are fed by reward. We are fed by social input. We are fed by interaction, and we learn. So if we learn that that is really bad for us when we experience humiliation or shame or something else, we learn not to do it again. That's the writing shame. Thank you very much, Nemoria. Thank you. So actually, we need to feel pain sometimes to learn not to do something again, to not repeat it. And that's something we really have to think about. And I find that quite interesting because actually for some of us, we enjoy the masochism of it. We like the emotional humiliation, the emotional masochism. And that's different for kinksters. Why? Why have we turned it that way? What's happened? And I've spoken about that one quite a lot in the past because we're just talking about humiliation now. So that masochism can be sexual, physical, and it can be emotional as well. And lots of people perceive pleasure when they receive pain. So it can be psychological and emotional. Some people call it erotic, some people call it emotional, some people call it psychological, people call it lots and lots of different names. However, it doesn't matter. It just produces excitement for a lot of us. We're like, oh, this is so exciting. I still think you've got to fucking make sure that you're okay with any of this. I don't know why I like emotional masochism. I don't know why I'm an emotional masochist. I can't tell you that this thing happens and that happens and why. Some people report that masochism is a completely learned behavior and an escape of self-awareness and responsibility. Maybe. Who knows? Which one is it? Is it learned or is it an escape from something? Don't necessarily know. Each person has to do their own journey. SN says, feck, my mum has passed. I now think she's judging me more from beyond the grave. She can see all those things now. My mum died in May and, I talk to her quite a lot. I still do. I've got a photo. Well, I've got her, the program thing that we did for the bereavement, for the funeral. And I want to get a different photo to put up there and just keep it up of her. And I choose not to listen to the voices I've taken in from my mum that are negative. I very much choose to talk to her positively. However, I feel I can do that because I have had a fucking shit ton of therapy, so I can undo that voice. People say I can't undo what my mum did to me because it's so awful, or my dad or my parents or whatever. We can, because your parents are often not alive and not doing it. You are doing it to you because you've taken it in and it's become a learned behavior, and they're voices that we carry on using. So I think as well, you've got to be aware of that if we associate pain with pleasure, it can tie the two together. And that can be quite nice if we've got a learned behavior. Whereas with a second ideal of it, okay, what does this mean? If the escape of self-awareness, I would argue that's not so healthy. If you use it as a form of escapism to the point where you disassociate, then it's actually what's happening with your feelings. Oh, sorry, Louise, I'm still doing a little bit of humiliation. I could humiliate you for being late. Would that help? I won't. I'm kidding. That is a joke, and I'm sorry if that's offended you in any way, shape or form. I'm glad you've laughed. So no, of course I wouldn't without consent either. But no, we're still doing a little bit of it, still talking a little bit. And I've got a massive writing on it, so have a really good read of that as well. That makes a difference. So I think we've got to be careful when we disassociate from emotions if we don't know how to deal with them. But a lot of people want an enforced situation where we disassociate so we feel better. Little Bush Baby says, when I first discovered my submissive side, I was on groups on Kick, and it surprised me how many dons would come into a group and start humiliating the subs. Oh, I'd say fuck off, you cunt, probably even in a group. One that got to me was being called a fat pig. Oh, no, fuck off, because of body shame. But being called a slut or names like that, or a turn on, yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ, that person's crossed the line already. Jesus Christ. Can humiliation be incorporated into masturbation? Yes, absolutely, because you can imagine scenarios and do all sorts of stuff. However, the more you connect a certain emotion with your masturbation techniques, the more you might rely on that, and the more extreme your need for what you think of when you're masturbating will actually start to be connected together. I work a lot of people with all sorts of things, from anorgasmia, erectile dysfunction, vaginismus, like you name them. That I work with that's part of my job. And a lot of people who end up with sexual issues, I've done more and more and more and more and more, and then that ends up being too much of a problem because we get more and more and more extreme. Debs, could you do a section on the different types of masochism? Give me a minute. I'm trying to get there, and I promise I will try and get through all of these things. I promise. A lot of people use BDSM as a form of trauma control. We all know what I think of that. I'm really sorry. If you read anything by Siegel, Bessel van der Kolk, Babette Rothschild, creation for assimilation recreates trauma. It's a problem. I might try and do a little bit today, but if not, remind me that you want that, and I will do that as well. There are surveys around BDSMers, and a fair proportion of us do humiliation. The statistics vary between 30 to 70%. However, it's not near 100, is it? That's quite interesting. Like it's certainly less of us. And as again, we really perceive humiliation in a different way. So please, please, please make sure that you understand what you're doing. Please consider other people around. I've got a big thing as well about it. I've got a bee in my bonnet about it. I don't give a shit about cheerleader Kate. I don't care that she's 18. I don't care that her friend's 18. I couldn't give a flying fuck. They're legal. They're fine. I understand how people want to patronizingly say, you should turn around and you should know better in your life. I do care about her bringing cheerleading into it because it's one of my businesses. That's the only thing I've got quite a thing about. Any cheerleader or cheerleading sports captain would be fucking livid about it. And what I care about is the shit people do in public. I don't care if they're 18. I don't care if they're 40. That can have humiliation in different aspects to human beings as well. And we don't have the right to do that to other people. For me, I feel very strongly about that one. So if I've done it before. I think I sold something on Facebook myself, and I realized at the bottom, I've seen it when people send me pictures. I love it when people make a mistake about this. When someone sends you a picture off their picture roll, but it's a picture of the picture roll, and you see all the pictures on the bottom. Anyone else zoom in and see what every other fucking picture looks like? I do. Anyone else do that? Fuck do I. And I'm always trying to find out, because I'm like, who the fuck is that then? Or what's that then if you're just talking to me, you cunt? I find it really interesting. And if you throw something like back at someone will feel humiliated or ashamed in some way, shape or form. I do it all the time. Kinky dick. It would be interesting to know what percentage of the BDSM community have a history of trauma, some kind of mental ill health versus the general population. The figures are quite similar. We don't have a true poll of what a percentage of people, because people don't answer fucking questions. People don't want to do research. So the small polls are... the polls that we have are very small in BDSM because people don't answer the question. And Amoria, yes, absolutely. Not a problem. Jerry says, people are saying yes. I enjoy receiving humiliation in some situations, but I have great trouble knowing where to start when someone asks to be humiliated. And I think a good way to start is, the first way we're going to make you feel humiliated is sit down in front of me, cross your legs. I'm going to sit up here and you're going to tell me a story about all the worst words I could use against you, all the worst stories I could bring up about you, all the things that I could say to you that would get in your brain. This is a confession. Start. That's a lovely way of doing it, because it's becoming humiliating about trying to do it. So that's the way I would do it. And it's really consensual then as well, because people can say it. So let's have a look at the different types of humiliation. And fuck me, I'll have to hurry through incels and fucking ghosting. Ghosting won't take that long anyway. So there is verbal humiliation. Verbal humiliation is split into different aspects. So this is not for everyone in every way. So please don't think that it is for everyone in every way, because it just doesn't work that way. So we've got verbal humiliation can be things like belittlement, making someone small, degrading them in some way with the words and things that we use. We can have degrading or insulting words like stupid, fat, cunt, pathetic, names, different things that affect people. It could be that pet play is humiliating, like puppy, dog, like, come on, jump around. I get all these things are turns on as well. That's the point that I'm saying. You have to find which one humiliates you versus which one you go, ha, this is all my Christmases come at once. That's the point. You've got to find this stuff out. So insults are quite bad. Name calling, having a go at someone's body. Jesus, call those tits. They just hit your fucking waist, love. You call that a cock? You should grow it. Shave that hair off. You stink. You are not pleasant. I don't want you anywhere near me. Go and wash, go and do stuff. We can use all sorts of things as well. Don't forget as well that, so when we get verbal as the sort of thing as well, so it can also be permission based. So please, can I go to the toilet? Please, can I wear this dress today? Please, can I wear these trainers today? Please, can I eat this today? That can be humiliation for some people. Micro control in some way, shape or form can make a difference. It could be that we say, Jesus, is that the way you walk? Is that how fit you are? So we can have a go. We can, you can also turn it so that, oh yes, my Lord and Master, my mistress, you are my goddess, you are wonderful. Now, some people find that a turn on and some people feel that that really humiliating as well. That's the point. This is what's so brilliant about all of this. Taking the piss out of someone, mocking them. Seriously, is that the best you can cook? And all of this, remember, comes under the fucking umbrella of domestic violence. So please be aware of people's history and trauma and everything else as well. However, it could also be go and sit in the corner. Who do you think you are, you silly little girl, you stupid little boy? Again, be really careful about the words you use because they can trigger people and do all sorts of stuff. Please be careful is what I'm saying with this stuff. I know you think, oh no, be all right. Yeah, will it? So you've got your more physical humiliation, and that can be sex and stuff outside that risk. For me, that's a no. That's a very strong red from me. I'm really not interested. But you could eat off someone, you could feed someone, you could piss on someone, you can piss inside someone, you can shit inside or on someone, get them to eat your shit, get them to drink your piss, get them to drink your cum. You could do it in such a way that you send packets through the post with cum in, so it's freezing cold and 3 or 4 days old, and ask someone to put it on their Frosties. Please don't have children in the room in case they nick a few or anything. Absolutely. So please be careful about this sort of stuff. Send it through. You could have sex with somebody else, come in a condom, tie it up, give it to the other person to drink. There are so many things that you can do that are physical as well. You can also post photographs. You can say derisory things about people. You can share photographs. You can say some horrible things. And you see a lot of that. You can go for a lot around forced penetration with consent. I'm not talking about any form of sexual assault here. There is a consent already given previously. And that could be with all sorts of things. It could be with fucking a set of markers. It could be with my very large bottle. Congrats if you can manage that, I tell you. Could you do the bottom end up though? Because I don't want to drink from the straw. Right, so because that could be not a whisk. Never use a whisk. Do not use a whisk. You could use a whisk. Don't use a whisk on anybody who is overweight. Do not use a whisk on anybody who has a coiling. Because when you're overweight, the inside of your womb wall is thicker, so if a whisk goes in you and it's twisted, it will catch the inside and it will twist it and turn it, and if you have a coil in like I did, it could rip it out if it catches it. So please don't use a whisk. Don't take the whisk of a whisk. It's not worth it. So forced penetration of anything, like when someone puts their fingers in your mouth or puts a large gag in your mouth and makes you drool everywhere into a bowl and gets you to drink it up or something along those lines. It could be that you become a table, that you're, I'm sorry, I'm an old woman. I've got a gardening mat upstairs if you want me to stay on my knees for quite a while, because I tell you what, my knees won't take it. I'll be like, God, could you give me a hand up? Fucking hell, I don't think I do that easily. So you also have to think about the physicality and how it is as well. So it could be that you ask someone to lick your ass, stick your tongue up their ass. That can be degrading and humiliating for some people. It can be, having to justify everything you do, everything you say, everything you spend. You can write lists and all sorts of stuff. It could be that you ask somebody to do something really, that whole thing about cucumber the other week on FetLife about that person who used a cucumber, put it back, not happy with that. And then somebody did another video. I'm really not happy with that, because if I bought that cucumber, your juices on it are utterly unacceptable. I'm sorry, they are. It's just not right. Bingo, thank you, Al. It's like sometimes people play bingo with me and they take the piss because I talk about it quite a lot. But somebody went and bought a bottle of lube and a cucumber. Now, I think whoever you put that through on the cash till is kind of going to know. For me, I don't know if I consent to the other person having to put those two things through. They might smile and laugh about it, but someone else might go, that's really not okay by me. And the problem is you don't know what that person's going to think and feel. So I would chuck in a carton of milk and a load of stuff to make a salad with, so it looks like it's two different things. I would, because I feel very strongly about that. So I do think you have to be aware of public consent when you're asking someone to do something in public. However, in a sex club, totally different. Totally different. There's consent there in different ways from different people. As long as you've told the DMs what's going to happen and if you're going to do something really extreme that people might not like. Rituals, like my cigarette, walk behind me, cut up my food, I choose your food for you. Rituals like that can be really, when you're there and the server says, what would you like? And the other person speaks for you and you say like that, the server might think, oh, that's a bit strange, but a lot of people do make decisions like that anyway. However, you might find it humiliating or you might find it thrilling. So that sort of stuff. It might be the eating from the floor, or a bowl on the floor, or sleeping on the floor. So there's those sorts of things as well. It could be that you have all the positions, the slave-like positions that you're asked to do at different times. That can be humiliating for some people as well. Some people don't like that. It could be that you're never allowed to have eye contact or connection with somebody, for a day, or that you have to speak in third person, or you might love it because that wouldn't be humiliating at all. It could be that you are only allowed to come if I massage your prostate. You will never be wanked. I'm just literally going to massage your prostate until you come, and then you're done. It could be that you're watched doing things. It could be that you're watched plucking the hairs out of your chin, or your ingrowing hair, or cutting your toenails, or going for a piss, or going for a shit, or anything. It could be sharing. It could be that, I'm going to give you to somebody else. Again, consent. It could be that the person is tied to the bed and has to ask to get up. It could be that you've got protective sheets down and the dominant says, no, piss yourself in the bed. And all of these things can feel humiliating. Even hitting someone can. Wearing certain clothing in public. Again, I have thanks for all the suggestions. Jerry says, in future, I think I'll probably just say I don't do humiliation giving. Sorry about that. It could be that you prescribe what somebody's going to wear. Again, I have a problem with this one. If you say, I want you to wear a sheer blouse with everything hanging out, or a sheer skirt with next to, look, I understand. We're not the Oscars. We're not the whatever it is where people wear things. You're going into a fucking shop. You're going into a supermarket. If you bend over and everyone can see all of your bits, I might have a problem with that, especially when a child can walk around the corner. And actually, the reason I have a problem with it is if you are caught doing it, you are put on the sex offenders register, and that is a for life situation. Please don't forget that. You might think it's funny. Cheerleader Kate might think it's funny her flashing her tits and I'm some bitter old woman because I don't approve, or I'm some old hag. My fear for that is, fucking hell, like that's a sex offenders register. That's it for 10 years plus. Jesus. It could be that they ask you to go to a club completely naked or with a set of ears on or something if you don't like that you can't wear knickers, that you have to wear a cage, all of this stuff. It might be that people want you to wear a collar or signs of being owned. It could be that you are made to masturbate, not allowed to masturbate without asking. Cuckolding, cuck-queening, bulls, hot wives can all come into humiliation as well for some people. It could be that you wear something under your clothes, like a rope bra, or some kind of harness or something in some way, shape or form as well. And all of those things can also be done online. And of course, one of the extremes of those is giving an enema as well and watching the enema take place and at work. So that works for some people as well. Of course, we've got all sorts of stuff. So, you can put up your, I used to have a fantasy of people giving out my phone number. And if I got a phone number with a code on it, that I would have to have sex with that person with no limits or something along those lines. That used to be quite a hot erotic fantasy for me. But of course, that can be quite humiliating as well. Is that a private message? Okay, not for out loud. Got it. I agree with that. So I've just been sent a private message. So I apologize. I would agree with you. It's really interesting. So someone's just realized something was humiliation in their life. And it is that perceived, one of my rules is don't make a fucking fool of me in public. Like my public persona really matters to me. Don't make a fucking ass out of me in the middle of Lamb or the middle of somewhere else, because I will fucking cut you dead. I will sort that out. I am not up for that. I have zero to do with that. Ayrshire Adonis says, years ago, I was force-fed a bowl of Rice Krispies with golden nectar instead of milk. Afterwards, when chatting about it, how was it? Me being me, I commented that it could have done with some sugar. Probably, or maybe they needed to eat more strawberries. Deb's off topic. Where did you get your bottle from? Fuck, what they called? Ask me in a minute. I'll try and remember. It's a website. I fucking love it. It's such a good bottle. Oh my God, I can't see because my eyes are so bad. I'll find that out and I'll bring it up next time, I promise. So it's really important to work out what works for you. So chastity might be a form of humiliation. For some people, it could be like we used to have lots and lots of slave markets where people bought people for part of the evening with lots of consent. I mean, that would be my worst nightmare. Like, what if no one bid for me? What if nobody said, oh, God, I think I'd die up there. Like, you know, okay, sorry, £5 for half an hour with Deb. £3, £1, 50p. Fuck off, you can't. Like, I don't think I could take it. I would die. The King Shrink branded water bottle. That's really funny. Typo, TYPO, that's where they're from. Typo bottle. Thank you. Yes, my memory does work sometimes. So like things like that, or, you know, if you say you have to like something on FetLife that you're not sure about or somewhere else, so have a look at Typo, but Little Bush Baby, TYPO is a Typo bottle. It could be like really terrible things, like if you give somebody lines, thousands of lines that they can't do online that they've got to write. It could be Deb plus £20 for a fine. Can I consent to that, you wanker? It's lucky I love you, isn't it? Jesus Christ, I'm not buying you lunch. Fuck off. Right, so it could be that things are like one of the old ones used to be, we used to have these things called phone books. You wouldn't know what they are, half of you. So it's a big book like this, which had A to Z of every single phone number on it in the whole of the fucking UK or America or whatever. You want to give someone a boring task that someone might hate is copy the phone book. Start at the beginning. You're kidding me. What's the point of that? Don't care. Memoria, I saw that bid as a slave market. A to D, E to K, L to R, S to Z. Exactly. I'm sure that could be kinky as well. It could be that the person has access to all of your computer, all of your private stuff. Please be careful about that. Please be careful about that. I think you have to be really, really aware of that, because self-care is really important in those things. So, and it could be that you're made to go on cam and do something with somebody else. All of these things are possible. So that's quite a lot about humiliation. Humiliation was the point. Thanks. So like, you know, like this bottle actually leaks water everywhere. No, I tell you what, my flip-flops are a really good example. So I wear flip-flops around the house an awful lot. Copper ones at the moment, really like them. They're really easy to wear. You know, I wear them out as well, but my God, they fart. Like, so when I'm walking along, they go, and all these things. And I'm always saying, it wasn't me. Well, that wasn't my body. I mean, it was me. It was my feet, but it wasn't me, you know, because it's just like, it wasn't me is part of that, isn't it? That goes with it as well. So, I hope that's covered quite a lot about humiliation for people. I hope people have got something out of that as a start. So that's a good thing. So let's go on to ghosting, and then we'll do incels. And I might go a bit over. So I'm really sorry if you're excited about the incels. I'll go as quickly as I can. You know me, I tend to get really passionate about these things and talk way too much for way too long. So I wrote about ghosting a little while ago, and I was talking about actually that 78% of people, roughly, this was a survey done in about 5 years ago now. At that point, 78% of people have got ghosted or been ghosted. So what does ghosting mean? Ghosting means when you stop communicating with somebody with no explanation whatsoever. And that's a really clear definition. If somebody says, I'm not going to talk to you anymore, we're done, they've given you the message, that's not ghosting. Even if you write to them 20 times and say, why the fuck aren't you talking to me? Because I told you I wasn't going to. That's not ghosting. People don't have to reply just because you want them to. So ghosting is nothing, silence. You were chatting normally. The worst case of ghosting I've ever heard about was a client I saw for quite a few years. She came in about a back handspring for cheerleading, which she just couldn't do. Jesus, did we get into some much deeper stuff, you know, because she wanted to as well. You know, and one of the things she told me was that when she was a little girl, she was about 3 or 4, her dad, her mum and her had been out for the day. And when they came back to their house, everything was gone. Everything apart from her clothing and a few bits and pieces. The father had just disappeared. He had ghosted his own family. That was it. And he didn't come back into their lives until she was 16. He said, by the way, I'm your dad. Fuck, that's extreme. So people do that. So we get ghosted when we're talking. I don't like it. If you don't want to talk to me, just say, fuck off, Deb, or I don't want to talk to you. I'd much rather that. So I've got an idea what's going on. And I've had other things. I remember one guy who was talking to me and then said, he'd had some surgery and he said, I really don't feel well. I'm going to go back to the hospital and things are really bad. You know, I'm really worried. I'll let you know how I am. Silence. And he was going to go back to the hospital where he was. So I phoned the hospital. They couldn't tell me. Of course, I've got no right. However, what I did know was, and I said, okay, can you just answer one question for me? Do you do A&E? No, of course not. We're not an A&E. We're a private hospital. I was like, you cunt. You just found a way of not talking to me. That's an awful way of not talking to someone, because the assumption is that maybe they've died or something. Zoe says, I've been ghosted by someone a couple of years ago. They got back in touch during lockdown, zombieing. Found out it was because he still had pictures of me on his phone. Oh, his girlfriend saw them and left him. So he came back, not because he missed me. Nah, not remotely interested. Please have a digital agreement with everybody that you speak to. I'm not saying it's going to work. However, that happened to me. I've said that story quite a few times at LAM, where somebody said, oh my God, Deb, oh my God, this is my girlfriend. Have you met my girlfriend? I was showing her that video of your anal last night. And I said, sorry? And he went, that one you sent me 3 years ago. I went, yeah, also the one that I said you may not keep afterwards. Did you? Yeah. I said, hold that thought. I've got to go and run a workshop. Either don't be here because I'm going to rip you a new arsehole, or do it publicly, make your choice. And I turned and I said to his girlfriend, don't know if you can trust him. You need to think about that. And when I came up, he wasn't up. It's funny, that, isn't it? He left. Ghosting is a massive aggravation. It is. Ghosting ghosting a narcissist is something that doesn't get talked about as much, though. If you are ghosting a narcissist, you are not ghosting. You are stopping communication with intent because the person is a danger to you. That ain't ghosting. It's completely different. Karis, grey rocking. There's a difference. Sometimes we have to cut off communication with people because they're abusive. However, I'm also going to say not everybody's a narcissist. We just talk about them as all being narcissists. They're not. I had asked him to remove them all, says Zoe, but he didn't. Cost him his relationship. He left me. Karma is good. I agree. Karis said that's grey rocking. So ghosting happens a lot, and it happens a hell of a lot more with the internet. It really does. It's a real variety. The figures are much lower when it comes to people who are dating and with each other. They really, really, really go down, and it makes a real difference. But ghosting is a horrible thing to do. Why would somebody do it? They might be really uncomfortable with what they're feeling, what they're sorting out in their own lives and what it means to them. They maybe haven't considered the implication of where they are in chatting to you. It could be that they're married and they didn't realize it would go down this route. It could be that they didn't realize they would develop feelings. So they're struggling with their own emotions. They might be struggling with your emotions, your intensity, your desire. That might have an impact as well. They might have no idea about what the consequence will be on you either. That's not very nice. Why do people do that? It might be that they think, well, who the fuck cares? Because there's no social consequence to them. Their name's not everywhere. We don't go around saying, by the way, Zoe, the real brat, ghosted me yesterday. She's a bit of a twat, isn't she? Like, there's no consequence. Zoe didn't do that to me. But you know what I mean? So we've got to be very careful because who cares? There's no social or no personal consequence. What does it matter? Everyone does it. It's happened to me. So why the fuck shouldn't I do it? That's quite common, isn't it? Who cares? Well, I don't want to confront my feelings. It's too confrontational. I don't do confrontation. Can I read that or not? The person has just sent me that privately. And it could be that they feel a lot of shame. They don't want to share their feelings. And it's not their fault. It's just cultural, isn't it? It's the way it is. Okay, so someone's just written, I'm worried I'm ghosting someone right now, but in reality, I've ended it with them and they have irritated me by continuing contact in a way that creeps me out. That is called harassment. You're not ghosting. If you have said, I am done, we are done, I will not communicate with you anymore, more than 3 messages, three, okay? This is really important. In the UK, 3 messages is considered harassment. If you then reply back to a message, even after 300, that 3 starts again. So don't reply. Don't do anything. I mean, it's not stalking. However, it is harassment. 3 messages. That's 6, but 3. Really important. Right. So if you, however, as I say, if you get 100 or right back, it makes a really, 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 it makes a huge issue. So please, you are not ghosting. You are doing what is right. Grey walling. You are saying, enough now. I've said stop. That is not ghosting. Ghosting is disappearing without an explanation. If I say, I never want to talk to you again, I'm really sorry, I'm out, I wish you well, I won't respond to any messages, and then you don't respond to 300 messages, why? But I love you. What about this? You're not ghosting. You've explained very clearly what's about to happen. Completely different things. And people get this confused, actually. Why would someone ghost and zombie over years? Because they're playing a game, Bev. 9 times out of 10, they're probably in a relationship. That's often one of the situations. You might not be their normal cup of tea. You might be an embarrassing secret for them or a guilty secret for them. And some people do that to say, well, I don't really want to go out with you, but you talk about this, you're a dirty fucking cunt, and I really love that, but you can't meet my mum. So they might have some shame and bits and pieces about it. Also, it might be that they're bored, that they're angry. The amount of zombieing went up massively over lockdown. I wonder why, because very few people were getting laid. Who can I talk to that I haven't spoken to for 3 years? Oh, she'll do, he'll do, they'll do. What? I get zombied a lot. Hi? Question mark. I delete people's numbers. The best thing I love doing is to say, I'm really sorry, I haven't kept your name or your number. Who are you? I love that one. That's one of the best responses ever. And they say, well, it's so-and-so. No, it still doesn't ring a bell. Sorry, have we met? Yes. Well, have we? Oh, I can't remember. It's the best way to do it. It's really nice. It's really nice. Jerry says, the first couple of times it happened to me on OkCupid, I spent ages trying to track them down via what they'd told me about themselves before I twigged they may not have been telling the truth. Most people don't tell the truth, and it isn't even worth following them. It's not going to do you any good. In the end, Chloe says, I liked your writing on images and digital agreements when written. Yep, it's really important to do that. I don't know where that writing is, but it's quite a long time ago. A former partner got in touch and asked if I would like him to do anything with the images he kept as he'd seen I liked the post. Wanted to share the power of writing, talking about things. Yes, it's really important. And I'm so glad that partner did do that, because if you haven't had that conversation, at least that person saw it. Raven, I had a play partner ghost me for a year and popped up asking to be pegged. What the fuck? Yeah, never to be fucked, I think the words are. NTF. Little Bush Baby, I had a dom who did that after a video sex one day. Months later, he came back and said, I've set up an account on a swingers website for us as he missed me. Due to being in a bad place, I believe to shit. Before you believe anything like that, come and talk to me. Drop me a fucking DM. I don't care. Don't do that. It's really bad for you. I don't want you to do that. And then he ghosted me again. Funny that. Look, when someone's ghosted, if they do it again, don't ever give them a second chance, because it will just carry on happening. Delete info, as you say, yep, and change the password and everything as well. Queerly Quite so, thanks, Deb. That distinction was very helpful. Good, I'm glad. Saraswati, excellent. Humiliation, thanks. And oh, there you go. Thank you very much, Namoria. I should have guessed. Because when you are ghosted, it feels fucking horrible. It's not negative. There's never anything positive. It's all negative feelings. You're going to feel humiliated. You're going to wonder why. You're going to wonder what the fuck is going on. What did I do? Potentially blame yourself. You're going to worry that there's something wrong, that something's happened to them. It's an insult. It hurts you. It's really unpleasant. You're going to be seen as disposable. Like there's a carelessness to it. It's not very nice. Of course, it could be that that person doesn't see you as compatible, and you might feel some of those feelings anyway. You can just say, I'm really sorry, you're not for me. When I was on dating sites like Plenty of Fish and stuff, one of the things I wrote on it was very clearly, I said, if I write to you and say, thank you very much, I'm really sorry, I don't think we would get on, best of luck or whatever, if you then say to me, why, I might fucking tell you, so be careful. Because I don't know, because I don't find you attractive. Because I don't know, like, I mean, and I feel like being quite rude to those people at that time, because I've already told you. Carrie says, I have an ex-friend who considers it okay to remove themselves from a situation, friendship that they don't like, without giving a reason. Would you consider that to be the same as ghosting? Yes. It's a fallout from the fact that they can't handle those things. And there has to be a consequence at some point why we say that's not okay. We hate limbo as human beings. We hate feeling in that place where we think, am I okay? What did I do wrong there? We don't like it. We need to know something. I really understand. Then people say, yeah, but I need to ghost because I'm not neurotypical. I'm neurodiverse or different things. We can still be polite and say, I'm neurodiverse. Sometimes I ghost. Sometimes I might disappear. The guy I'm seeing is very busy and has a lot of work. And I called him up on something And he has really good answers. We talk, like, so far that communication has been really good. And one of the things he said to me today was, sometimes I'm in very different headspaces. I'm in a board meeting, I'm having a meeting with that government, or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And these things are really important. And if I'm in that headspace, I'm going to talk to you very differently. So sometimes I like to change my headspace. Now, for me, I can respect that and not understand it, because I can flick my headspace like that. I don't see that as a problem. But I can doesn't mean someone else can or can't. We've got to be, not just me, we've all got to be really careful about that shit. Yeah, but I can. Which doesn't mean someone else can. So a bit unfair, come on. So we have to think about that as well. So it can be really emotionally cruel. For me, ghosting is cowardly unless you have a very fucking good reason as to why you've done it, like you're dead, you're in hospital, or you are so neurodiverse that you could not do anything about it. I still think you can often. I think it's about integrity. I think it's about respect. You're not going to see him in real life anyway. Just be polite, give him an ending message. Not an ending, because you might not answer everything you want to in your own way, but that's one way of doing it. Okay, anyone got another question about ghosting in any way, shape or form before we go on to incels? SN says, first time I met on Tinder, who made me realise I'm submissive. In retrospect, was a total predator. Spoke 3 times a day, at least once online, ghosted me, and then came back and told me his dad and best friend had died. I told him I didn't believe him, and he attacked me for not believing him, gaslighting much. Yeah, you know, I do find it interesting. Look, can awful things happen? My mum died. I still managed to talk to people. But again, I've got to watch that, because I've gone into, well, I can. Again, we've got to watch that. Yeah, but I can. So we've got to watch that, because that might be true for someone. I'm not saying it is for USN in that circumstance. I'm not saying that at all. I think we have to be careful sometimes, because I think things can happen. But oh my God, if bad things keep happening to the same people again and again and again and again, come on. I can give you a list of really bad things. In one of these sessions, actually, it's what made me think about it, because I said, no, I think I've had quite a rough time over the last 10 years. And then I listed it, and I've actually got a writing on, Sean and Maury will find it in a minute, when this is my stuff over the last quite a few years. This is all the shit that's happened to me. I was like, fuck me, that's a bit of a cunting life, isn't it? Wow. And we all respond differently. Just because I can doesn't mean someone else can. Please watch that one. I think that's a very strong philosophy in life. And I don't believe that your dad can die 3 times and your brother, who you don't have, you never mention, can have a severe heart attack 13 times either. You know, those sort of things just don't happen. So, yeah. Okay, let's have a look at incels. There are some really good videos around about incels. There's some really good information about incels if you want to have a look at it. I think it's a very interesting term, and I think we have a right go at people who, you know, we think are incels and it's used as an insult, but I would argue there are gradients for sure, and that there are a variety of people. However, at the extreme end, in the last, I think it's since about 2014, in America alone, there are 12 mass shootings or killings or murders that are 100% down to somebody who was also an incel or an incel. So it can lead to extreme violence. It can also lead to people who have massive insecurities. And it's interesting, because if you look at the history of incel, which means involuntary celibate, which means I am celibate and I don't want to be, thank you very much. What it basically is, it's a...
I mean, I can't get laid.
Yes. It's much deeper than that, though. There are some serious issues around people who believe they will never get laid, and it becomes very much what people call the black pill as a swallow. We'll go into all of that as well if you want to have a look. So if you ever have a read of an incel forum, what you'll find, not just one mass shooting in the UK, there are 2, the one on the bridge as well, where the person crashed and went into the Parliament buildings, was also down to an incel, and one of the people who was stabbing was also an incel. So they're not mass murders, but they are violent crimes that happen, and it does lead to quite mass violence. And I can see why if we have a look at it. So there's a lot of misogyny, a lot of hatred, a lot of discussions that are all about hatred when it comes to when we look at incels, but that's just scraping the top, you know. So because it does tend to endorse some kind of violence against people, especially against women, and it happens. Some people see it as male supremacy. Some people say it only happened for men. That is not true. There are female, women, cunt-owning incels. And in fact, if you go back to the history of it, the first time it was ever reported as a term, it was a woman called Alana, a young woman called Alana, who was a university student, and she started talking about her sexual inactivity online in a forum, and she created a website talking about it, and she called it something like her involuntary celibacy project or whatever, and that's where the term started. A woman used it, not a man. And I think that's really important to realize and to think about. I think in the last 5 or 6 years, over, I think, 70 deaths in the UK and America have been committed by people who identified as incels. That's a shit ton of people. Yeah, the last 5 or 6 years, maybe 7 years, something like that. Incels are mainly men and mainly heterosexual. There is a truth in that as well. They are also predominantly white. So white men, heterosexual. However, it's also been classed now by quite a few people and governments. In 2018, it's now been classed as a terrorism threat. So when people are associated with any form of being an incel, it's now a terrorism threat. And I think there was something that happened in Canada, Toronto, in 2020. If people remember, I can't remember which one it was. And that's the first prosecution, I think, might be wrong, where somebody was actually prosecuted under that definition. So there were loads and loads of boards that started up when this Alana started all of these things. She used a slightly different abbreviation of incel. It had other letters in it and stuff. And then she went on. She became more comfortable with identity after a while. She realized that she was bisexual, I think, and she started to pull away from the forum. And she feels like she created a Frankenstein or a monster. Jerry looks like he's part of that song by Queen where you can see their heads. Mamma mia, Figaro. Put a devil put aside for me. That one. That's how he needs to bounce his head, but it's that one. So fucking, where am I going? Jesus, I clearly need more squash. See, other people think that about you as well. So that could be humiliating for Jerry. We don't know if he's okay with that.
Nah, not at all. I'm in my mum's house. There's nothing here. There are no lights here anymore.
Oh, so Jerry's been having a clear out and he's moving. Are you an incel by self-description, identification label, or by criteria applied to you? I will come on to that, Chloe.
Or by diagnosis, actually.
The answer is both. Actually, in all honesty, because you describe yourself with that and then you identify with the label and that starts to cause the problems. I suppose the most active incel community was on places like Reddit, but they've now moved into private forums. So they have gone into a slightly different forum because they're trying to hide more and more and more. So he says, without being too judgmental about a neighbour, but it seems one of my neighbours is an incel, but it's simply because of his own actions. I refused to sleep with him last year and he threatened me. We've recently been finding a lot of Viagra packets and we do think it's him. He threatens every woman who's lived in this building. He's very violent, very aggressive. We've had an injunction and I was informed last week after he was convicted for threatening to stab a neighbour who's moved now that my housing is going for possession. So they're going for possession for him. Yeah, absolutely. Too fucking right. Okay, so let's have a look at this. To get rid. Yeah, I would agree with that. So when incels really caught up and really got famous was around 2010, 2011, when things started to get a lot more extreme. And what you've got people on things like 4chan, 8chan. God, there are so many other sites. I'm really sorry, I can't remember all of them, but there are a shit ton of sites. Vote. I think there's quite a few where people are going down because they know that they're getting shut down because of terrorism or terrorism threats. So there are now some very serious warnings about it. If you just plan to shoot people, you can also get done for it as well. It is a federal crime. In America, it's a major crime. I'm going to shoot you up, really could get you into trouble. So you do have to think about these things as well. The ideology is quite interesting, isn't it? Because it's all about self-pity. It's all about hatred. They are very much moving to the dark web. It's also really sad. There is a shit ton of suicidal, suicels, they're called. So there's lots of words we're going to learn and use if you don't know them. They believe that there was a time when there was a fantastic, beautiful golden age from before, when everyone got married and everyone was happy. They believe that feminism is to blame for the breaking of that, that female independence is, that actually their own sex, what they're looking for, what they're moving towards, and they're led by quite a few, there's a few psychologists and different people, men going their own way, pick-up artists, all sorts of things. There's lots of institutions and different people that are looking at that. I think a lot of UK peeps only learned about incels this year after the murders. That would be really sad, wouldn't it, if that was the case? So in England, what we had was an awful situation where a young man shot his family members, including a very young child. A little girl was shot by a man who was an incel. And he absolutely admits that that's why he did it and that's what it was all about. The problem is incels believe they are physically inferior to other people. And there are lots of names and bits and pieces we can start to look at here. So let's have a look about how they feel about themselves and what it means. So they'll often really hate women, and a lot of women are called femoids or femoids. That's their name for them. They're not human, they're not whatever, they're called femoids. That's the way they see them. They will also call women things like semen receptacles. They will call them skank, wench, whore, slut, bitch, whatever. They have so much language that is quite horrendous, and mainly cunts are called roasties because they're raw meat. Interesting, completely their own language. Are their brains wired differently? Nope, they are not. Let's go on to that a little bit as well, so I will in a minute. They see that women break into two forms of types. There is the Stacey and there is the Becky. The Becky is your average woman who, what you would call a natural look. I'm going to say some really offensive things for the next half hour. If you're offended, you wanted to ask about this, these are the words, this is what's said. It is nothing that I believe or I think. I really want to make that clear. What you'll find is that Becky wears baggy clothes. She's probably got non-dyed hair. It's probably brown. She wears flat shoes. She's not very exciting. Whereas Stacey is blonde and has huge tits and a huge ass and wears really short skirts. And she's up for everything. And her makeup is on point. And she might have designer labels and she will always wear high heels. They also separate men into two categories. Men who are good looking are the Chads. And they have the Chad stride, and there are men who are the virgin walk, and they're non-Chads, and you can get, so, oh God. And of course, this is all blamed partially, which an argument always is, if you look at some of the videos and different pieces that I've seen in the past or whatever, of course, it's all to do with the structure of your skull. That's completely to blame, because a Chad has a different skull to a virgin. Did you know that? It's amazing, isn't it? How the fuck don't we know that? However, the Chad is very muscular. He's very capable. He has a very strong jawline. They're fucking obsessed with jawlines. Obsessed with jawlines. This is great. And strength and noses and everything else as well. Very strange. And they walk like gods and they're fantastic people, whereas your average incel is slouching, isn't happy, doesn't like himself in any way, shape or form. The incel skull has a smaller brow, a smaller brain area, different ways and different things. So quick Clint Eastwood envy. I mean, I don't even know if he passes, but, you know, it's a weak chin on an incel, whereas a Chad has a really strong jawline, especially here. It's very square, very masculine. He's quite big. He has a thick neck. He's, you know, there's a lawyer on YouTube, Tom says, who did a great breakdown of incels after the incel murdered the people here in Toronto. Yeah. Oh my God, Jerry, I haven't even started yet. Wait till I get into it. I'll tell you. And if anyone wants to go, I'm probably going to go 15 minutes over. I'm really sorry. Please feel free to go. I will not take it personally, but if you want to learn about this, there's another one that somebody wrote on mine as well. Oh, Jesus, who is it? Fantastic fucking woman. And trans comes into this. It is a trans woman. The reason our ContraPoints, thank you very much, has a great video on this. Yes, there you go. So there are some great people on it. And the trans comes into it because of what they talk about in comparison to transitioning and the people that do it to themselves as people who are trans as well. Kind of sounds like they put themselves down. Yes, exactly. So they're buying into this shit. So what we've got to think about is, why do people do this? They do it because they're really insecure. And when we're really insecure, we think that we can't do things. We think that we're not capable. And people think very badly of themselves, and they start to believe these things. And then we justify our beliefs. And a lot of incels will justify, they say, when we talk about evolution, when it comes to biology, skulls, shapes, bodies, natural things, you know, a Chad is just this natural huge bloke that has these huge muscles and he's absolutely fine. Whereas compared to your other person, well, it's biologically determined. What more can you do? It's evolutionary. They also talk about the 80-20 rule, and they talk about hypergamy or hypergamy, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Hypergamy is the way I do it, which is, and they take the 80-20 rule into this. What they talk about with hypergamy is that women will always marry up, that women are looking for men. I've just found articles online, sisters, about how some incels are opting for plastic surgery to change their bodies. Yeah, absolutely. They are. And they're looking for all sorts of different things. ContraPoint's video is brilliant. It's such a good video. They are. And they'll also go for jaw inserts and chest and all sorts of stuff as well. So what was I talking about? Hypergamy. So the principle of that is that even if, so the idea that incels will have is that men and women are 10s, 9s, 8s, 7s, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s, like your Beckys and your Stacys. And that if everyone stayed in their lane, there would be something for everyone. But women use hypergamy and the hypergamous in that they always try and go up to try and live off people. So when they try and live off people, they live off people that are normies or norm cells. That's often what they're called, so that they're like, okay, this is somebody who's very normal, so I'm going to use him for cash. You're never going to get a Chad, but you're always going up. So the principle here becomes, if the 80-20 rule comes in here, the bottom 2, 10-20 of women are going to the next level up, 2 levels up, which means these 2 of men, which is where incels live, can never get anybody. So they're convincing themselves, they're justifying that they cannot. Because 80% of women desire the 20% of top men. Therefore, they will always go above and make sure they can do better. And it's crazy because they really do start to believe this. I would also say you have a lot of incels when you start to go to a different way, where you've got people who say, well, it's worse for me because I am Indian, I'm Black, I'm Asian, whatever it is as well. And then they talk about white cells, and they talk about JBW theory, which is just be white, because that's even better, because Caucasians face the fewest obstacles when it comes to this sort of thing. So when it comes to Darwinian theory of natural sexual fucking selection and evolution. So women, by the use of cosmetics, by the use of makeup, by the use of this incredible power that they have, go for this hypergamy. Fucking, I'm laughing. Come on, human beings. And they go for this top percent. But I'm not laughing, because actually they'll find anything. There are words they use like height cell. You know, I'm 5'5". I'm never going to get anyone. Mental cell, my mental health isn't very good. Therefore, I won't do as well. And so they've got all these different words that they use. And it could be that they've got a drug addiction or something's going wrong. And then again, really strong words. Please understand, these are not my words. We then start to add things when we start to talk about color and race and identity. They've got black cells, rice cells, and curry cells. I think you can all understand what each one of those people is as they classify them. I think those are very self-descriptive. So incels attribute their lack of success to basic personality principles. I'm shy. I work with men. Most incels are likely to be nerds. They will turn and say, but I work in a male-dominated industry and environment, therefore I never get a chance to meet women. You know, my hair's not, and they're always blaming something else. It's my appearance, it's the size of my cock. Penis cells are also there as well. That's another word that people often use. Jesus, it just goes on, doesn't it? It's quite horrendous. So they blame everything else. They really like 2 sets of work by 2 very extreme psychologists as well, social psychologists. They're like anything by Brian Gilmartin. Go and have a read, see what you think. And they also like work by Jordan Peterson. Now, Jordan Peterson says some wonderful things. However, if you look at all of the work, quite interesting. So, incels believe in two forms of principles about the red cell, the manosphere, and the red pill and the black pill. So when they've got this idea of the red pill, it's an illusion. So what they're talking about is they're saying, okay, so, and it comes basically, that's based on the Matrix, where you can take, was it the blue pill or the red pill, when they say, I can't remember what it was in the Matrix, I'm really sorry, but you're going to wake up and see reality, or do you want to stay in this illusion? So it's the choice of the pills, and incels have taken that on. The red pill shows you the truth. I meant in, was that what it was in the Matrix? Was it the blue pill? Do you want to stay where you are? Whatever. It was originally red pill and blue pill. The black pill has come more recently for the more extreme and end of it. Yes, especially for suicides. So people don't like, a lot of people, what they talk about with incels is that you've all taken the red pill. This is the way that it is, that hold the beliefs, that have their rights. When they are seeing it, they are saying they've woken up. What you've got here is women who've woken up, they're feminists, and they've got these rights, and they shouldn't have them because I am entitled to sex. I'm entitled to access to sex, and I should have sex. And there was an article, even in the last year, in a major British paper that said, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should start allowing these people to have sex. Who with? I mean, come on. Do you want to sleep with them? Chloe, intersectionality of incel with race, age. This conversation is so illuminating. Thank you for covering this. You're really welcome. There are videos out there of this if you really want to research and have a look at it. It's actually just a bit shocking to me. So what you've got, men going their own way, as I said. I mentioned them a little bit earlier. You've got pickup artistry, which is teaching incels to be able to pick up women. But of course, you've now got people who just can't even manage that. And that pickup artist, and I've described quite a lot of it. They do believe that men as well are either fuck boys or cuck boys. Dual strategy they talk about. And the whole principle of a cuck boy is he does quite well because he's got money, but then women are really bad because they have sadly they're just with these men for the money, and they're not real worth it. They're probably not Stacey's, they're probably Becky's. And then you've got your gorgeous, beautiful boy who's your Chad, who can just fucking get laid, and he's awesome and cool because he can do it, can't he? So when you're incels, according to the red pill, when you're incels are aware, someone said I have to leave. It's been phenomenal. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your amazing knowledge. As a newbie to BDSM, this has been invaluable. Enjoy your new puppy. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Thank you very much. So you've got your normie, which is your cuckold, because people are only using him for money. You've got your alpha male, and he is that person who is just fucking, yeah, and he's going to get laid because his jawline and his skull is really that good. And then you've got your incels, which means forever alone, forever a virgin, never going to be touched. That's how far it goes. Jerry says, this is really very disturbing. I had no idea there was such a huge body of theory and ideology. So honestly, one of the things I'll say towards the end of this is part of the problem, and it connects to Queerly Quiet's question. Disenfranchisement could be a risk factor. The answer is yes, because when you go down this sort of ideology and you start to look for this stuff, it becomes its own form of, ironically, humiliation and emotional masochism that I was talking about earlier. So with the red pill, as I said, only 20% of men actually attract women. So these people don't stand a chance. What do they think of female chads, the norms, or do they not exist? And they do. So those women who are those Stacys that they want, however, they're not good. They become the thing that they can never get. They become this idealistic form of this perfect woman who is very, very fucking based on plastic surgery. It's the massive boobs, it's the big lips, it's bimbofication. That's what they're after, that classic bimbofication. But the problem is they don't think they can ever get it. Runkle of the Bailey on YouTube breaks down incels during a trial over a 6-hour series. They're quite disturbing. They are very, very disturbing, really disturbing. So they think that dating is not for dating, it's not for a relationship, it is a meat market. And it's all it's there for. So, but the problem is with feminism that women have come into this power. Let's talk a little bit about the black pill. So the black pill is a very strong belief, which is all about the fatalism, the biological determination for these people. And it's defeatist and it's absolutely awful. They use words like perma-virgin. They use words like suicide, which means they're often suicidal. What's the point of living? So he says, but it doesn't sound like they want the status if they are with a Chad for money. No, they're with a norm cell for money. The Chad just gets what he wants. He's that idyllic person who can have everything in every way. They're with a norm cell for money. That person who's fairly normal, you know, is your 6 out of 10. He's not your 8 out of 10. He's your 5 out of 10. Blah, blah, blah. If they feel that, to put it mildly, they can pay for sex. Absolutely. But they can't even get that. We'll go into that, which is what the blacks said about. They feel that this whole sexual market of where people are, it's so fatalistic, that they're so defeatist and so stuck because they have no self-belief. Believers who think that are referred to as black pilled. So it was used, it's all about sexist ideology. It's all about completely destroying any form of emancipation that women have had in any way, shape or form. They believe that our entire social structure and social system is utterly broken and that not one person can change that because they have no power. So they're completely stuck in hopelessness, that it's a permanent state. Perma-virgin, perma-cell. Same sort of thing. You'll never have sex, you'll never have a relationship, and happiness is impossible. It's not something you could ever get. And at first it started as a bit of a joke, a bit of a meme, but then it's taken over as a real true thing where they just say they're given up as having no options at all. They give up on life, and they're often referred to as LDARs, which is lie down and rot. So when you're starting to go to this extreme where they believe they have no choice, there are two choices from that. I kill myself or I kill everybody else and I die. And that's where the violence comes in. I'm going to die or everyone's going to fucking die. It sounds like they also create a lot of self-fulfilling prophecies, and as they do, I'm just about to come on to that. So they do confirm their beliefs because they fucking catastrophize everything. When we look at how that is, if this world is so cruel and shallow, when we say everything isn't okay, we need to start to believe in that. It makes such a difference to us. So when we think, look, we've all done some form of catastrophizing, you know, oh fuck, my back's just gone. Right? Let's say I say that, it hasn't really. Shit, last time I bed, oh my God, I'm going to end up in bed for 5 days. Fuck, I might need surgery. Shit, I might never walk again. I've just catastrophized in 2 seconds. I just maybe need to take a breath. Ooh. And I might need to be, my back's relaxed now and it might be okay. However, what you get is an apocalyptic type conclusion that says you're not okay. If you remove all the terminology and the ideology, this would be very deep long-term depression. Yes, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that's very masochistic as well. Because why... if I feel rejected and isolated and nobody wants me and I'm not okay and I'm unattractive, I will never be attractive to anybody. I'm powerless. There's nothing else I can do. It's not my fault. I mean, it's kind of like the Portia Nelson poem, isn't it? I don't know if you've all heard that one about autobiography in 5 chapters where she says, I walk down the street, there is a hole in the sidewalk, I don't see it, I fall in. It's not my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. I walk down the sidewalk, I walk down the street, there is a hole in the sidewalk, I see it, I fall in, it's not my fault. It takes a long time to find my way out. I walk down the street, there is a hole in the sidewalk. And yes, he is, I think, Jerry, he's recording. And he also says, local prostitutes have a blacklist they share. Incels end up on that list very quickly. Yes, because they are a threat. So it's Portia Nelson poem. I walk down the street, I see the hole, I fall in. It is my fault. I get straight out. I walk down the street, I walk around the hole, I walk down a different street. It's one of my favourite poems too, as one, although I haven't told it very well. Apologies. But the principle here is about the fault. If we realise, and I don't like the word fault, I think we have to realise we have power. However, if you try and save an incel and say, hey, maybe, like, and a lot of them will do a lot of self-work, like they will try and make themselves chads, they will have plastic surgery, they will go to the gym, they will do lots of things. However, if they have swallowed the black pill and they are in that, there is yes, people can feel this way after a failed relationship. Mainly it's about not attracting anybody and not being able to. Perma virgin is a really big thing. A lot of incels are virgins that have never had sex and don't believe they ever can. What does an incel do if a woman actually gave them attention? Would they feel like they're being mocked? Yes. Or would they accept a woman likes them? No. And even if she did, what they're probably going to do is turn around and say, she's taking the piss anyway. Can incels be helped in therapy? Do you know what? I had an incel in my house in that room about 6 years ago. This guy walked in, 5'5". That is relevant. He's a short cell. There's always a name for everything in incels. And he wasn't that unattractive actually at all. He seemed like a really nice guy when he first came in, and he was quite chatty. And then he started. And he sat down in my chair and he said, I've been told I need to come and see you. I went to a lunch. He went to the Hove Actually lunch. And I said, gosh, you have to come and see me. What do you mean? Well, I can't get a fucking woman. No one's interested in me. I'm 5'5". And I said, why does your height? So again, when you try and save an incel, if they have believed the black pill, there is no saving them because they're so lost in this conflict. Hey, look, you could do okay. People are around. You can meet somebody, maybe just cut your head, all these things. But you can argue that this is massive, masochistic self-harming. It's just on a digital scale. It's just on a social scale. It's just on, because they keep getting worse and worse and worse. Surgery and going to the gym are just going to change the outside, not actually helping the underlying issues, which is the problem. However, people are stuck in this masochism. If it hurts, it is so. It is so because I hurt, and because I hurt, it is so. So it's really interesting. Is this a recognised condition that can be spotted during the early stages? I think you can spot an incel a mile away within seconds. And it just, even the first words, I was like, oh shit. And he's in my room and I'm alone and I'm a woman. I'm starting to feel unsafe. And he starts going on about how women, he's fucking fed up with them. They're all like that. I spoke to an alcoholic a little while ago. I didn't know he was an alcoholic. I was just had a private message saying, I love the fact that Hove Munch is called Hove Actually. It is actually, it's because I actually even think it's in Brighton, ironically. My mum lived in Hove Actually, I haven't been for years. But Hove Actually is called Hove Actually, even though it's part of Brighton and Hove now. We say, no, I'm in Hove Actually. My grandmother used to live in Hove. So, recognised condition. So this guy I was speaking to seemed really nice, runs a major local charity to do with HIV, got on brilliantly, and then we were sort of chatting. We were ready to have a roast on a Sunday. Nothing was red flagging me at all. So it's not always, I think you can recognise them if they're not very intelligent and articulate. It's the hatred underneath. Do I think this guy was an incel? No, actually, if I think about it, I just think he was fed up with the way he believes he was treated by women. We were going to arrange, and I said something about alcohol, and he said, oh, I think that's something we need to talk about. And I said, oh, do we? Is there a problem around alcohol? I said, I don't really drink, to be honest. Like, it's very rare. I probably have about 3 units a year. That's it. You know, I'm not a drinker. And he said, well, actually, I am. And I said, lol, are you an alcoholic? Expecting, and he said, yes. And I said, oh, that is a problem for me. And he went, it's so fucking typical of you women. You're such a bunch of cunts. You think my alcohol use is getting in the way. And I was like, whoa, that was quite incel behavior. That doesn't make him an incel. Incels have this deep self-hatred and lack of self-awareness, which is actually really sad. I think it's really sad. And as I've said, they are utter masochists and believes that it's so. They really do. They are very rejected and isolated. However, they make that worse. They make that worse by isolating themselves. They absolutely believe they're unattractive and that's not changeable. Have a shower is often half the battle. Smell quite nice. Put some deodorant on for a change. Do something a little bit different. Fucking talk to me like that, you fucking woman. Yes, porn can be part of the picture, especially as it sells us the Chad and the Stacey, doesn't it? Again and again and again, especially that typical porn, not your neighborhood porn or anything else as well, or your wife next door, but porn is definitely part of the picture. They will actually have a look at it and they believe that women have done this to them, therefore they are powerless, therefore they can't get out of it, and it carries on and on. However, as I say, there are also female incels. There are femicels, which we have as well, and forever alone women. But there's a big disagreement as to whether a woman can be an incel, because even incels say, well, you can't be fucking femcel because I'm an incel. Great, we're really going to go down that sort of line as well. It's not possible, because any woman can get laid, no matter how deformed and hideous and ugly she is, because men are always desperate. And that's the way incels see it. Even if you are on the bottom percentage of okayness and you have mass deformities, you can still get laid as a woman. Fucking hell. Can I tell you how empty my inbox is as a woman? Can I tell you how many messages I don't get on dating sites? Because believe me, I don't get those fucking messages. Would an incel want to sleep with a femcel? No, because if you've got a black pill incel, he doesn't believe that anyone will sleep with him anyway. So they don't want to sleep with anybody. They are a self-fulfilling prophecy of negativity. If you have more of a red pill incel who believes in the whole pickup and everything else as well, they'll kind of sleep with anyone, but they'll also play the ugly or the fat game or anything else as well, because women are just there to be used. Women are there just to have a good time with a roastie, which is a very well used, mangled up cunt, because that's what they all look like. And they actually talk about how mangled cunts become when they're overused, that they are deformed, that they don't look normal, that they are hideous. Would they often have a history of child abuse? No, actually, they don't have a history of child abuse. They have a history probably of being quite insular, often quite nerdy, often people maybe who had trouble making friends, didn't meet a lot of people, didn't have a chance to talk to girls, haven't learned social skills. That's probably the problem, men, if you think about it. Cinders, they're exceptionally toxic. I've chatted to a few people lately who are fitted into this category, and I quickly leave them be. Personally, I found a key red flag is when I pointed out things they could do to better themselves. Oh God, they'll tell you they really can't do that. So basically, femcells are a thing, but against the incel and limiting themselves. Yeah, to a certain, they do believe. The problem is with a femcel, she also believes that physicality is the key here. She needs to change herself. They don't. The thing with a femcel is they don't get angry, because of course women don't get angry, do we? Because we're nice, docile little things. And there was an interesting piece written by Con, I can't remember her name. Jen, begins with a J for whatever. No, it doesn't. Isabel, is it something like that? Sorry. Again, memory, not always perfect. And she wrote a piece that's interesting, because she was talking about the problem is with femcels, what they do is they sympathize and idealize the men, saying, I really understand, because you wouldn't want me because I am ugly. They don't go the whole fucking screw you or whatever. They go into that, self-deprecating place. So we don't go on violent rampages. We don't get much attention because we're women. So it's very, very different. And of course, we then say femcells don't exist, and they go, oh my God, I don't even exist. My identity is utterly So they very much go into that self situation, and they're much more likely to commit suicide than they are to hurt anybody else. Little Bush Baby. This is very interesting. I used to chat to someone on Sept who always called me and women wenches. So many things make sense about how that person, the guy I'm talking to calls women wenches, but that's because we've agreed it. So it depends as well how people use the term and what happens. So femcells are a thing, but against the incel and limiting themselves, yes, but they're also against themselves as well. So he said, you just described my brother. He's had one girlfriend, she cheated, and since then women are the worst people. Yes, you've got to be so careful, because the problem is the black pill is a self-perpetuating prophecy of masochism and extreme masochism, where people just get lost in it, because once they've started and they go to that, I don't know, it's such a masochistic system. It's awful. It's so awful what you watch, because there is no getting them out of it, because they're so sucked into it. What I also see a lot of the time when you think about it, involuntary celibacy isn't some form of mental condition. Somebody might have a mental illness. Somebody might have a physiological disorder. And also they call themselves mencels because they're mental. That's what they say. These aren't my words. These are their words. Again, please don't have a go at me. But they won't go and see someone about it because they can't be fixed. So if they're that bad, then there's nothing they can do. Hence, they turn to violence or some form of violence against themselves. Is there such a thing as a pensioner incel or do it? Yeah, I think they can be any age whatsoever. Chloe, yes, Chloe, do they have a big sense of collective belonging? Yes, they find refuge in this place where I need to go to a different forum. I'm so glad I'm moving here. So what you find they'll do is they'll start with red and they'll start to pick up in different things, men going their own way, all those different systems that they have. And they go into places that then say, I'm so bad, I now need to go into suicides and I need to look at different things. And that's when things get more violent and more aggressive, for sure. It isn't a psychological condition, it's an act of terrorism because it's a choice. It's a choice that people can do. And they get a lot of hatred and everything else as well. Look, do I think they deserve massive sympathy? No. I also think that some people need empathy as well sometimes, some kindness, where people have got lost. Are they savable and retrievable if they want to be? Some people will, but these people lack social skills often. They lack chat up principles. They don't know how to talk to a woman. They don't know a lot of these things. And they're so lost. And then they join in this group who are frustrated and feeling shit, that everyone starts to push each other and change things, which is what groups do, which is why violence occurs in groups sometimes. So they keep going on and on and on. So I think sometimes we need to be a little sympathetic whilst also holding boundaries. I think there's a balance in that. It was the New York Times that the guy wrote about it, the redistribution of sex or whatever. He wrote that we need to give incels sex by asking sex workers or sex robots. And everybody else went, are you fucking kidding me? That would be mental. Let's know. However, in Sweden and other places where younger sex workers have been asked to sleep with paedophiles or people with paedophilic tendencies, even if they're not actually prosecuted, what they found is the acts of paedophilia, the prosecution, and the acts in and of themselves have actually gone down. So could it be good? However, when we start to get into these groups, we groom each other, we make each other so, and it gets really complex, and it's really, there's not a lot of research that is starting to happen. A lot of people don't want to talk about these things or research, and they're very difficult to get into. If you're not one of them, they certainly won't talk to a woman who's researching, for sure. That's all about incels. Blimey. And actually, Chloe,
hey, well done.
I feel some empathy and I feel quite sad. I do. Zoe says it's been 10 years since he's been with her. He's never tried to meet a woman because we all lie and cheat. That's very incel language. Calls you a slag because you're poly. I kind of see this as him just attacking because he clearly got issues because of his ex. The issues aren't because of his ex. The issues are because of the way he responded to his ex's behaviour. Let's always blame the person for their own behaviour. Lots of us have been cheated on. We don't then go and shoot 500 people. So can we please separate that? You know, we often blame and say, well, you know, whatever. No, I don't agree with that. So that's the only thing I'd pick up on that one. If a sex offender has their sexual needs met, they are less likely to reoffend. Yes, and it's a well-known piece of research. And the same could be said for incels. Give them all a sex doll. It can make a real difference. Is there any way you can save someone who fits the profile from falling down the incel rabbit hole? Yes. Think even autistic, level no friends. Oh God, yes. Yes, don't look it up. Don't let them research. Don't let them go into it. Get them out. Teach them to socialize. Teach people to say hello. Bring them to things. Let them have a conversation. Teach them to talk to other human beings. However, for the last fucking 18 months, we've probably produced a whole year's worth of incels, which are going to be worse than anyone else because they've got no social skills. They haven't been out and they don't know what the fuck to say to anybody. We are creating more and more issues in the world that we live in when we are stuck on social media, digital stuff and everything else as well. It's been absolutely shocking. So you can help. You really can. You can by letting them talk to women. I'm a woman. I'll talk to you, for fuck's sake. Come on. And actually, you know, my inbox is empty. It really is. I don't get approaches from men. I really don't. I have to approach them. I get so many knockbacks and dislikes. I'm a 56-year-old woman. I'm a size 18 UK. All of those things make a difference. People aren't as interested in me, or I'm too clever, or I'm too this, or I'm too that. It all gets in my way, but I don't have to be somebody who hates everybody else. It is a fucking choice. Things happen to you. You have a choice as to how you respond to them. However, if you then go into that rabbit hole that says, Jesus, that's quite difficult. There are incel support groups. There's a lot to do about men's mental health and everything else as well. And what we're talking about is aggrieved entitlement. That's where people are stuck. So we need these people to come and talk. We need these people to have some help if they're willing to. However, a lot of them won't do it, especially if they believe that they are forever alone, which is one of the principles that they use as well. It's bleak, it's fatalistic, it's fucking awful. People are saying thank you, that's very kind, informative, super interesting, informative, extra awesome tonight, thank you, great as always. Is it a promising sign if they're bisexual? Actually, yes, it is. Really eye-opening. Thank you, Debs. Thank you. It seems I'm not submissive and I'm far too vocal now. Men don't approach me. Yeah, it's interesting, that, isn't it? Always a treat to attend your chats. Oh, thank you. I had no idea of the magnitude of the whole incel thing. Oh, it is. There are hundreds of thousands and millions of people if you go all over the world. I can't remember what the population levels are. I know in Sweden it is 4%. I don't know why, because I read that somewhere. I don't know how much it is in the UK and America. Which is something I happen to read. I used to volunteer in a bookshop pre-pandemic, and lots of parents would ask if their kids who were on the spectrum could volunteer to learn how to socialise and interact with colleagues. Exactly. Participatory programs. It works for everyone. It's a really good idea. Thank you very much. You're all saying lovely things. Please do come to LAM if you can. I'm meeting Caris and Moria. We're going to have lunch. Jerry might be there. Luke might be there. Other people might be there. You're welcome. We're going to sit down around 12 o'clock and have a lunch. Come and have a Zoom meeting lunch. I'm happy to get a couple of benches and let's have a nice time. If Zoe's coming down as well, everyone will be welcome. Thank you for saying really nice things. Brilliant workshop, interesting session. I've never been to one of these before. I'm sure I'll be joining again. Thank you, Kinky Dink. Dink? Fucking hell, I've just insulted you. I'm really sorry. Kinky Dick. Jesus. Stornery. Thanks, Debs. Thanks very much. Oh, people are saying really nice things. Thank you. Thank you. See you at LAM. Thank you. Interesting. So again, I'm not here next week. However, I am here the week after, and we are looking at being stalked, stalkerish behaviour. What can we do about it? What are your rights? What's the law? What's the psychology? How do we work with it? And then we're going to look at the biology and the social and the psychological aspect of scat. And I don't mean I mean shitting. Absolute shitting. So we're going to look at scat. Why is it? Sorry, you just kinked your nose up, woman. Like, totally, I'm not doing that. No, thank you. So let's talk about so we'll talk about it. And what did somebody else just say? What did I put in my book? So scat, see, this is where I return to my book. So we could do scat, or we can do STIs. We can have a look at STIs and what's the word? The stigma about them. So we can add that on as well. And I covered the different types of masochism today. At least I think I did. And it's in my writing on humiliation. So if you look at it, they're all listed down there. Anyone up north, Zoe and myself will be at Lancashire on Sunday as we'll see counsellor. Yeah, go and meet Poppy. She's awesome. She does the same sort of thing I do. And she'll run a workshop. So go and attend it and have a listen. And you can ask any questions you want there as well. On the live workshops at LAM, I run them in such a way that you ask me any question you want live at the time and I answer it. And if I don't know it, well, that'll be interesting. Hasn't happened yet. Fuck, I should never know.
I have a challenge. Someone come up with the subject Debs cannot answer. Someone. Yes, it is a challenge.
Oh, don't. It's an I can moment, isn't it? Well, I can. Listen, my self-defense mechanism. No, we're talking about psychology and sex and drugs. I'm all right on world capitals, actually. But so my fear is I am never clever enough, right? And if I'm not clever enough, my fear, so if you were to humiliate me, it's going to be about being stupid more or somebody's less than I am. So my humiliation is based more on my brain. So in order to be okay, what I make sure is I know quite a lot about what I know about. And then that helps me. Plus, this is my work. I have over 50,000 hours of experience in my work. I have a client who's a doctor and she said to me today, I just don't feel like I'm learning anymore because she's sort of qualified and she's out there working. And I said, fuck off, you're doing the most important learning that you've ever done. And she said, what do you mean? I said, you're gaining experience. You know, each time you meet someone new in a different way, you're gaining experience. You're doing something, you know, I was kidding, Donkey Rage. Please don't think I took that as a bad thing. I don't. I'm very straight speaking. If I had a problem with what you said, I promise you I would say, very direct am I. So, you know, it's interesting. I said, no, that's the point when we really are learning. You know, I thought I'd met everything and occasionally you find something that comes up and you go, oh gosh, that's new. That's interesting. So yeah, So we're talking about how to deal with people who are verging on stalking. Next time, 2 weeks, obsession, bitter exes, different things as well. What can we do? And we're going to be talking about scat, and we're talking about all forms of STIs, STDs, whatever you want to call them. It varies. And the stigma around them. So I'll cover all of that in 2 weeks' time, if that's all right. Thank you very much for coming. I'm sorry I've gone over 2 hours today. Thanks, Jerry. Reverend Tully from Finland, thank you very much. Is it Reverend Tully or Reverend Tully? Zoe says thanks. If you want to cover me or ever donate to me, I'm on Patreon as the Kink Shrink, and I have a coffee. You don't have to. These things are for free. I love doing them. It's really good. I think it's all good if we learn together. I think it's really important. So thank you very much for coming. Lots of love to you all, and I will see you in 2 weeks' time. If you enjoyed it, please follow me. If you don't, please be my friend. If you're not, either are good. And please help promote these workshops, because my ego is absolutely going to say, I think I say pretty steady stuff and pretty sensible stuff about the scene, about its psychology and everything else as well. So I want them promoted, and I think you lot have great things to say. So thank you very much to all of you. The man with no name. Do you drop off milk trays by any chance?
I'm sailing down your house.
Do you wear black? Oh, that fantasy is always going to a different place. Right. Thank you very much. Wanker wave. See you all later. Thank you very much for coming. I promote these workshops. They're always great. Thank you. You're really welcome. See you later. Bye. See you in 2 weeks. I might have a puppy on my lap then. How to get even more people coming. Wanker wave, because we like being prats. Thanks. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye.